Hi everyone, welcome to Global Compliance Panel live webinar on CAPA challenges and FDA expectations. Today's webinar will be presented by John E. Lincoln, and today's topic is CAPA challenge and FDA expectation. My name is Liz and I'm going to be your host today. On behalf of Global Compliance Panel team, I would like to thank you for being part of this event. Today's webinar will be presented by John E. Lincoln. John E. Lincoln is a medical device and regulatory affairs consultant. He has helped companies to implement or modify their GMP systems and procedures, product risk management, U.S. FDA responses. In addition, he has successfully designed, written, and run all types of process, equipment, and software qualification validations, which have passed FDA audit or submission scrutiny, and described in peer-reviewed technical articles and workshops worldwide. John has also managed pilot production, regulatory affairs, product development, design control, 510K submissions, risk management for ISO 14971 and projects with over 28 years of experience in the FDA-regulated medical product industry, working with startups to Fortune 100 companies, including Abbott Laboratories, Hospira, Tycho Mellencott. He is a graduate of UCLA. We are honored to have such a distinguished person such as John E. Lincoln with us to present this webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, I would like to inform you of the program outlined for this training session. This webinar is for 90-minute duration. First, John will take you through today's webinar, highlighting the areas that would be covered, and he would then share with you his presentation. I would also like to inform you that all participants, once they're part of this teleconference, have been placed on mute and will remain so until the Q&A begins towards the end of this webinar. This is for the purpose of avoiding any kind of discontinuity and for allowing the presenter to speak clearly so that everyone present can take maximum benefit from this webinar. I also request all to hold back your question until the Q&A window begins. 10 minutes of time will be allotted for the Q&A, during which your questions will be answered. And ladies and gentlemen, if for any reason you get logged out of this training session or teleconference, I request you all to follow the same procedure to join in again. Now that we are all ready to start, I request John to take it from here. John.
Thanks, Liz, and thank you all for attending. I'd like to re-emphasize the Q&A feature. Certainly, I won't be covering every detail on every slide. I include a little additional information that cannot be covered in an hour-plus presentation as a trigger to your own thinking. So if you had certain expectations for this webinar that you felt weren't addressed in my discussion, or you felt raised some additional questions in your own mind, please feel free to use the Q&A feature at the conclusion to address those. Also, I'd like to emphasize the fact that that invitation goes far beyond this webinar. So if you think of something in the next couple of days, a question, after you've had a chance to kind of mull it over, please feel free to contact me through Global Compliance Panel. And if it's a general interest question, the question and the answer will be disseminated to all in attendance. If you think of something months later, contact me directly or through Global Compliance Panel, and I will respond to the question and or point you in the right direction for your answer. So again, I appreciate your attendance, and please utilize the Q&A feature to, again, meet your expectations for this webinar. We're going to be talking about the points here. As most of you appreciate, CAPA is one of the most important areas as far as the FDA is concerned. I'll be mentioning that throughout our discussion because really if you have a good functioning CAPA system that's capturing all sources of complaints, then the FDA feels that you're proactive in addressing issues that could be compromising the quality of your product and the quality of customer/client/patient care, and as a result they have a little less concern of you as a company being in problems with compliance and or with the quality and safety issues with your products in the field. CAPA extends to all industries in the FDA regulated arena, So we're talking about devices, we're talking about pharmaceuticals, biologics, combination products, dietary supplements, and on and on. So again, appreciate the nature of this discussion in view of its importance to your industry and to your company and to the FDA's perception of your company. Some of the key areas the FDA has in terms of what they expect from your CAPA system, corrective and preventive action system, is that you capture all sources of problems. That be in-house non-conformances, out-of-specification conditions, as well as complaints from the field. Complaints from the field, the FDA would define those as warranty claims as well. So you'd have to analyze those and capture those. This means that you look at your gatekeepers. That's a term we may use a few times in our discussion, but consider how information comes into your company. Does it come in by email? Does it come in by letter? And probably less frequently by letter, by phone. Who do they phone? Do they phone your marketing people? Do they phone customer service, tech support? Do these individuals just filter out information on their own and determine what's reportable, if anything, or they just go ahead and handle whatever it is, and you, if you're in QA, RA, hear nothing about it? So these are key issues that I find in my working with various clients and audits of companies that are where many CAPA areas fall through the cracks, so to speak. So we're going to be looking at those issues. We're going to look at the ways in which you deal with a CAPA document. When I define CAPA, I generally look at CAPA as high level, and underneath CAPA is your complaint system and or your non-conformance out of specification system. Other companies may have them separate systems, but they need to link with CAPA. CAPA needs to address those. Internal audit results, vendor audits, if they audit you as a vendor and you respond to that and your corrective action, if you will, to their observations. FDA audits, ISO audits, all of this information should be fed into your CAPA system. You as a company may determine that some of that may be overwhelming and you may choose to filter it out, but be cautious as to how you do that, because your system overall, whether you call it all under CAPA or you have parallel systems, they need to talk with one another, they need to coordinate with one another, or something will be missed. And I hate to put it this way, but we're talking about non-compliance to FDA requirements and non-compliance to your notified body requirement. But the bottom line is, you will not be getting all the information for a complete picture regarding the quality of the products in the field from a business standpoint, which is, to me, a key area of regulatory compliance, not just satisfying your regulatory agencies. So this gets that third bullet point. We'll be talking a lot about this: failure investigation, impact analysis, root cause analysis, etc. The goal is, of course, continuous improvement. And your changes, which CAPA will, by definition, induce changes. Changes can create their own set of problems. So they need to be verified, validated, monitored, etc., all part of a closed-loop system, which is what the FDA is looking for. Problems detected, problems resolved and put to bed, and then it's monitored. So these are important issues to prove that your company is, as the bottom bullet brings out, in a state of control as far as the FDA is concerned. We often use that from a statistics standpoint, but here we're talking about it from a regulatory standpoint. Now, for those of you in the devices, you've seen this or some similar type slide many times before. For those of you in pharmaceuticals, you're undoubtedly familiar with the principle here. QSIT is Quality System Inspection Technique. There's a guidance document on the FDA's website that explains how the FDA's CSOs, Consumer Safety Officers, perform their audits of device companies. But the principles apply to pharmaceuticals as well through the ICH Q series of documents. You'll notice that there's 7 areas under QSIT that are emphasized, all of these dealing with the GMPs, the CGMPs. Management is behind it all. This is a basic principle of quality. Dr. Deming, the late Dr. Deming, was emphatic in emphasizing the importance of management in his 14 principles. But behind management, where the FDA generally starts and ends its audit, senior management, they're looking at, with devices, they're looking at design controls, production process controls, corrective and preventive action, which is